You're watching the Get Lifted debate show, and today we are tackling the topic of Brexit and what the future looks like for us. I'm Jen Wakefield.
I'm Lewis Daniel.
And I'm Tori.
Thanks for joining us this week, Tori.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this is a big topic, and we're going to put it out there that actually we all kind of jointly feel quite intimidated by the topic of Brexit, because we're opening ourselves up to people and you guys, telling us what you think, and we have a fear of being misinformed because of the information. We've all actually got various different sources of information, and I wonder how many others are feeling like this. We're going to talk about this kind of misinformation culture that we're feeling right now, and it's, we wouldn't like to think it's because we're lazy or because we're young or younger than other people who know more. I mean, we admire the people like Akala, who we were talking about, the fact that because he is so informed, he is so great to watch and listen to. So, it's just that, but at the end of the day, we're living in this country, we're all working, we're all people who have a voice and a say and have had experiences. So we're as formed as we need to be to have a political explanation of how we feel and a political voice. Yeah. So I just wanted to put that out there because, we're making ourselves quite vulnerable here, but at least we're having a voice and saying something about it. And if you feel the same, please comment and let us know, because we know that a lot of young people and just people in general feel like this. Yeah. But we're going to kick it off by talking about Brexit. Did you vote? Didn't you vote? So, Tori.
I did not vote. I'm going to get some stick for that. But I didn't vote only because I didn't know what I was voting for. And actually, after the vote had happened, that's when I was more informed. Like afterwards, even though you go and search for things, I didn't know. And people say, a lot of people said to me, if you don't know what you're voting for, vote to stay. But I still know what that means. Whether that means I'm a percentage of people that didn't vote because they're uninformed, I probably am, but I just didn't understand it. I guess as it's going on now, there's more and more information, which was very limited before. It was like, you're young, vote because it affects you. Okay, but what does that mean? Like,
put this sticker on you.
Yeah,
okay, well.
in. Do you know what I mean? And it's mad because like my sister, she works in Harrow, and she's like, she drives to work. So when she's driving to work, she's all these things saying in, and then as soon as she hits outside of London, it was out like crazy. It's so crazy. And even for her, she was like, I was so confused. Like, what do I do? Do you know what I mean? So. Yeah, it's quite difficult. Yeah. Lewis?
Well, no, I didn't vote. It's really bad, but I was a little bit busy and overwhelmed by this whole thing, and I really thought that we would vote to stay in. Like, why? Most of London did. Most of London did.
But this whole thing about not, I really feel strongly that there should be an option to register unsatisfied. I think it's important that we make room and time to vote. Yeah. But I do think that if you're going to go along, there should be something that kind of registers your ability to say none of this makes me happy. Yeah. There should have been a box that says misinformed. Yeah. Confused. You know?
100%.
So people
100%.
knew that. Yeah. Because it's like, why? So basically, it's still really only for a set of people, because. A set of people who, I did vote. I voted to remain because for the information. I mean, my general ethos is that we're better together.
Definitely.
Yeah,
always.
100.
Definitely.
And my identity, I have a mixed background anyway, so I have a kind of empathy with the idea that somewhere along my lineage, which a lot of people have, in this country, my family came from somewhere else. Yeah. And actually, I've grown up somewhere where around people from different places, European and elsewhere. So for me, it doesn't make sense to say no.
But imagine if everyone that didn't vote out of confusion voted in. It makes me think, would we have stayed in? Do you know what I mean? Because I know loads of people who just didn't vote because they're like, I don't even understand it. Do you know what I mean? So imagine if all the people that didn't understand had voted in, would we still be in?
Well, there's
do you know what I mean? Am I part of that
the actual percentage of people who voted was like in the 30s, or percentage of people who actually voted of the country. So when David Cameron's standing there saying, Britain has spoken, I'm like, no, like a third of Britain has spoken.
If that.
So what about all the people who didn't? What about the people who were at Glastonbury?
Yeah, literally.
Literally. Like, what happened to them? Why didn't they have like a polling station?
Yeah, they should have.
I mean, come on, it's, Yeah. But I mean, okay, this thing about misinformation, the state of the British newspapers has made me sick. And it has made me sick for years, and it's probably made a lot of you sick. I mean, the headlines that we had, like, believe in Britain, leave with a big Union Jack. what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, Rupert Murdoch has got a lot to answer for. I really want to swear right now, but I'm holding it back. It's just gross and disgusting. Our British press is disgusting. Like the stuff, I think it's very responsible for whether or not people trust it. A lot of people, like 73% of people apparently said from a source that I read earlier, said they didn't actually trust the papers.
Yeah.
But of course it's seeping in. Like
Of
we
course
see
it
them on the
does.
tube.
Yeah.
We see them flying around.
Everywhere.
We see these big things every day.
Everywhere.
And, maybe this may or may not be inaccurate, but maybe the people who did vote, who are from older generations are newspaper readers.
They are. And they believe the newspaper. You've got people like 60, 70, 80 years old. They read a newspaper. If it's in a newspaper, it must be real. And they're of that generation where they trusting in the government and they don't question of that. And I'm not saying this is to everyone, but most people of that generation are that kind of trust that they're there for a reason. You know what I mean? And it said the percentage that most people was it 55 up that voted.
Yeah.
Already that just...
And people say, there's this feeling like, because people got this nostalgic British view
Yes, Great
of
Britain.
what Great Britain should be,
Yeah.
whatever. That
Yeah.
maybe that was this influential thing. So it's the nostalgic British voice has now spoken on behalf of the young British voice, which got to live with the mess.
Yes.
But I mean, is it going to be a mess? I don't know.
Is it? Yeah, that's the thing as well.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Is it going to be?
But it does. We don't need more separation in the world.
In the world.
Look, we really don't.
Would you have said before or now you felt British or European?
I've always felt British. I don't know. I'm very proud of the art that comes out of Britain.
Me too.
Talent. I feel like even with what's going on in America at the moment, like I'm grateful for being in Britain and that I can walk down the street and feel safe.
Yeah, somewhat safe.
Somewhat anyway. I'm sure like someone from Spain feels Spanish, not European. I'm sure that's the same. You have pride for your country. And you want your country to do well. That's why we have football and all these competitions. Like you want your country to do well. So.
Yeah, 100%. I identify British rather than European.
Same. I identify British. I'm really proud to be British, and I think the Britain that I know is my experience mainly in London. So I'm aware that when you go to other places in Britain, it's not always experience that everyone's having. So
that's true.
But I know that I think there are some people who do identify as European in a sense where, like, reading about a girl earlier who talked about going on the Erasmus scheme and how she loved doing that, which is this European exchange that students do, and how she felt so sad and gutted because she was studying foreign languages and actually, she was doing it so she could feel part and parcel with her European counterparts and be empathetic and kind of considerate to them by learning their language and their history. And how she felt gutted that, was all of a sudden been like chopped off from that. And it's just, if that's her feeling of identity, how heartbreaking would that be for her? You know?
I tell you what, like when I went to uni, having the EU students was one of the best things, like learning about different cultures. I know we live in London and we have different races, but we're basically all British. But like having someone from Poland and having friends and learning about their culture, it was so exciting. And hearing, because I was on a music course, so hearing their talent and how they came up through music.
The different like nuggets and gems that come from their culture that they bring in. I mean, think about how much that influences music and how it's had.
Exactly.
100%.
My time at uni would have been so bland without the EU. If you just took all the EU students away, so bland.
Definitely, I agree with you. But Tori, this thing about obviously Tori's I'm going to call you like a fear specialist. Not because we should fear Tori, because her amazing channel is Facing Her Fears. Go check it out. But you said about fear and immigration. Yeah. So let's talk about that. I mean, who do you think is fearful of immigration in our country?
I think mainly the older generation. When I say older generation, I'm talking maybe 60 up, 60 plus. I feel like that generation are misinformed about what an immigrant is, first of all, and secondly, the impacts that immigrants, I hate saying that word, has on this country. Immigrants built this country and continue to, and have always have. Like Britain, like I said, invaded all these countries. Like the culture in Britain is not from British-born people that you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
of course, I'm British-born. I was born here, but it comes from my parents' generation, because they taught me things, and you know, the same for you, and the same for you. Like, and the things that we integrate into this country and are in this country and make this country. So when you're saying immigrants and you're saying everyone go back. Let's go back and back and back, because some people that are white British, you're not British, you're German, you're Polish, do you know what I mean? All your ancestors. So if we took it all out, there'd be no one in this country.
There's an amazing poem that illustrates your point called "The British" by Benjamin Zephaniah. I don't know if you've heard it.
No.
It's like a recipe poem, and he starts off by saying, "Take some Picts, Celts, and Silures, let them settle, then overrun them with Roman conquerors," and then it basically starts sprinkling all the different cultures, and it's like, look. Where are you going to go?
Yeah.
Like, what gives you the right to, you know, did you look up above and say, can I be born in one of the richest countries in the world and have white skin?
Exactly.
You know, we're very fortunate wherever, but, you know, it's not like, where did you get your collective ego from? Did you fight in that war?
Yeah.
Or why did you decide to stop going on about this war that people fight for, but this, that, and that?
100%.
What are you going on about?
100%.
Like, we've got one of the richest countries in the world, we've got some land, flipping share it.
This is it. If people that were fleeing from those countries, if you were in the position of people that are fleeing from countries, you would do exactly the same thing. If things happen in other countries that happen here, we would be fleeing to other countries.
Exactly.
It's human nature. It's survival.
Like, because people moan about it simply because they're a bit uncomfortable about something.
Yeah.
And it's like, but have you ever had that contrasting experience? And
Yeah.
then you go,
Have you ever?
I'm not going to, actually, you know what? I'm not going to complain about anything, because I nearly lost my life last week.
Exactly.
So, no, you don't.
Or
You're
my
just a bit
children,
uncomfortable
or
because you had to
my
wait.
family.
Maybe one day you had to wait a bit longer, or something happened in the doctors or something. It's like, for goodness sake, like, get your head out. Look at what you're talking
100%.
about. You know. So this prejudice and fear that comes from people fear. Maybe it's the change. I mean, I've certainly been around people who have said, "Well, when I used to live in this place years ago, it was like this." And now look at it. I mean, I'm not racist.
Yeah, they always say I'm not racist.
I'm not saying that. Oh, sorry, but you just.
But you
said
are.
It.
Just said it.
You are.
I just think
People's experience.
the greatness in Great Britain is the fact that we're a multicultural society, and I feel like this country's a bit like Beyonce, right? She sees what's hot. And she takes the hottest things, mix it up, and makes it better.
Yeah.
And that's what this country, I feel, is about. Like.
And I know there's lots of people who don't, lots of people from all different generations who do accept and love in different parts of the country.
100%.
100%, definitely.
They are.
They do. They might not. One thing I would say is that maybe people outside of London might not be always au fait with like the vocabulary or how you say things. I think.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be misinterpreted as them being having a belief
yeah,
that isn't fair.
Yeah.
I think that's sometimes just misconstrued because of how people word things.
Yes.
We're much more used to being sensitive and being around different people and being aware.
Yes.
So I don't think that's always the case, but you know, I think it's a shame having read about all of the racist and xenophobic attacks. I mean, what do you say? It's just I don't even have the words for it. These attacks on people who've publicly, it's just all like, we all know they're thick, they're stupid. I'm gonna say it. It's like stupidity, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let us know how you feel about this, because obviously we've actually ended up having quite a lot to say about it after having fear that we wouldn't. But yeah, do you feel the same as us? Do you feel like you were confused about what was going on with Brexit?
Yeah.
Are you quite an informed person, have something to say? You know, we want to know your thoughts. So please let us know. You can comment in the link below. Make sure you subscribe, because there's loads of videos where we debate different topics. And make sure you check out Tori's videos, which will also be in the link below. She's awesome. Thanks very much for watching. There's all these people who can play it, and this team comes up, and it's like this little girl coming from the basketball team who's doing successful and going, hang on a minute, what about us? Don't we matter anymore? It's like, you've been flipping. You're in the championship team. You've been going for a while. Don't be a Veruca Salt. It's like a brat voice.